Hi, this is a professional development session called Teaching Methodology for Hybrid Learning. This was a live session, but this is the video to back it up. First of all, I'll give an intro to myself. We'll talk about the theory of hybrid learning, the equipment required for hybrid learning, some teaching methodology points focusing on student engagement, some challenges and solutions. This involves a video, and in the live session there was some Q&A. So just to give you a background to myself, my name's Pete. I'm the campus coordinator at Shahama campus, and my experience with hybrid learning was on the remote learners in Bainuna who live all around the Western region. On the program I currently supervise, where we have lots of learners who have to go into quarantine due to COVID. I've been involved in PD sessions that have hybrid learning. There's observations I've done of teachers delivering these, and of course I've done some research, read some research about this and fallen down quite a few YouTube rabbit holes to it. So I don't profess to be an expert on hybrid learning. This is just my experiences with it and what I've found to be the most useful ways of applying hybrid learning. So I think we need to begin by just giving a quick comparison of hybrid learning to blended learning. Here's a nice definition for hybrid learning. It is an educational model where some students attend class in person while others join the class virtually from home. Educators teach remote and in-person students at the same time using tools like video conferencing. So hybrid learning is in-person learning and at-home learning at the same time. There's two different groups of students at the same time. You can use asynchronous learning as an addition to this. Whereas blended learning is you are in-person learning in one time of your learning, and then you would do asynchronous learning at another time. But the students do the same thing at the same times, whereas hybrid, they're in different locations. Here's a picture that nicely shows what might be one of the problems of hybrid learning. The students at home are not engaged. What's the reason we need hybrid learning at our school? Well, for one, we've got lots of students who have to go into quarantine, government rules. You might have medical exemptions, so they're told they can't attend the class. You might have low numbers in your classes, so you might need to merge with another location. You might have night students, so they might be working in another location, and it can help to reduce attrition. So if a student is finding it very difficult to attend for whatever reason, maybe they're close contact, then they can also use hybrid learning. So now let's move on to the equipment required for hybrid learning. Here is a nice video to show the equipment that's available.
The first piece of technology I wanted to talk to you about is the Logitech Meetup camera that we've attached to an articulating arm onto the podium. You can take the camera, easily turn it to face the board. So if you wish to show you working at the board or you lecturing at the podium, this is how you would do it. You take the camera, turn it, point it in the direction you need it to, and you'll be able to go wherever you need to. If you turn it towards the classroom, if you want to get the classroom more involved in a discussion, that works as well. The camera also tilts up and down and can be spun in almost 360 degrees.
So that's the ideal scenario if you have an unlimited budget and the know-how to put together a class like that. In reality, we don't have that. So these are the essentials I think we have that you need for hybrid learning. You need a laptop. You use, instead of a desktop, take your laptop with you where you teach. Use our Blackboard Collaborate. Have a backup like Zoom or Teams ready to go in case it fails. I would advise using Ethernet over Wi-Fi just because it's a stronger connection. Keep your laptop charged. Don't let charge let you down. And I would extend your display, not duplicate the screen, so that you can have things set up on the screen and move them across for when you're ready to teach. Another absolute essential for this is a headset. My advice is to use Bluetooth, not dongle. You can get those free plug-in ones that come with your mobile phone, but use a Bluetooth headset like this on my head, or a collared one like this. Choose one that's most comfortable. Consider where your microphone would be placed. So if I'm wearing these, they're noise cancelling and the students in the class won't be able to hear me, but if I put them here, the microphone is still hearing me, but I can now hear the students there. The key thing to realize is, what is the microphone designed for? So this microphone is designed to hear 10 centimeters away from the microphone. Your laptop is designed to cover 1 meter, 2 meters away. You can buy like a 360-degree microphone that will cover the whole classroom, but they're expensive. These things are available in most shops and will do the job just nicely. You might need to listen to the in-class students and at-home students at the same time, so you might want to connect them to the speakers in the room, or if you get one of these collar headphones, then you can just put one ear in and the other ear dangling, so you can still hear clearly in the classroom, but you can hear the students at home. And again, it's got to be charged. One point I would mention is to consider your privacy. You may have a discussion outside the classroom, you may have it at the front of the class with a student, and the people at home should not hear that. So consider that you're always on mic, as if you're a radio DJ, and put them down for those conversations. Here are two things that I think are very important, not essential, but they would really help. A secondary device and stand. Now, I've put a very cheap IKEA one here, it's like 15 dirhams. But if you have a secondary device, quite simply your phone, then you can put that as a second person to watch the class, and it provides a visual context for the person at home. So if you place this in a location in the room, they can see you teaching, whereas the laptop microphone can only see you sat at the laptop, and in a live classroom you'll be moving around, so consider where you would put that. Visual really helps as well as audio. So even in this video now, I've put a little webcam in the top corner. It helps to see the person speaking so that you can engage with them. Think about the audio backup. So if Bluetooth is not working on the laptop, maybe you're playing a video or a sound on the laptop, Bluetooth can interfere with that. You could connect your Bluetooth to this device and it's still playing. So use a mobile, use a tablet, put them in via a guest link. I would use a stand, a simple one like you've got from IKEA, just something simple so that it can rest. I'm not saying an expensive piece of kit here. And it can show the teacher, the whiteboard. If you pair them up with a student in the class, you can place it next to them. Consider how that would bring the students at home back into the classroom context. Another thing, wireless mouse and wireless keyboard. Right now I've only got a wireless mouse, my keyboard is at my office. But it really helps to make for easier presentation and delivery. You'll be at the whiteboard, you'll be at the smartboards, you'll be at a desk, you'll be at your teacher's desk. If you want to move around and be able to teach effectively, wireless will really help to conduct your normal classroom teaching, but around the room. It helps for student engagement, but it also helps for student-centered learning. You can get a student in the classroom to dictate something student is saying at home by just handing them the wireless mouse. And the best thing is, I've seen hybrid learning, and the teacher may teach like it's an online class from the desk, and the students just happen to be in the classroom. But no, they're the ones who came, they're the ones who are in the classroom. You need to teach them normally and consider how you would just involve the students at home. So it stops you sitting at your desk. These three things I've seen being used, they're really helpful. You don't have to have them, but they're good to have. Tablet and pen, so they have ones available on various electronic shops, and these are used for diagrams and demonstrations. Very good for like your maths and sciences, depends on which subject, and they just save the time and energy of writing on the board and then putting a version on the live classroom, and it just works a bit better. So these ones connect quite well. A trolley table, so I've seen different types of this, but simply it's a small desk that moves around the classroom on wheels, and it's great. And you use it as I've seen teachers with a laptop in front of them, they use it as a stand to present the class from, but they can turn their laptop around and engage with people in the class. You can put things on there so that students can grab it, like a calculator or a protractor or something like that. It's a really nice little tool, and I've seen it used really effectively by some teachers. And then I've seen this, I actually only saw this on YouTube, but a turntable, like the sort of thing that you have in a restaurant maybe, you put it in the middle of the table to swap food around, but a small version of this is not too expensive, and you can move your laptop around very easily, but on the front desk, so it does the same thing as that trolley table, but it's on your desk, and it's just a much cheaper alternative to that. So here's the review of what equipment would really help. Laptop, Bluetooth headset, essential. A secondary device and a wireless keyboard would really make the hybrid learning experience better for the learners at home, and a few other little gadgets that may help you to deliver a classroom with hybrid learning. So now let's look at teaching methodology. This is still a fairly new area of teaching. There have been people teaching remote learners for decades, but this style of teaching with Zoom and Teams and Blackboard, there's not that much research gone into it. I've done a lot of searching for papers, but there's very little on hybrid learning. So this is based on what we're seeing live and in action in our context at the moment. The most important thing is student engagement. How do you engage with the students that are live in the classroom? How do you engage with the students that are at home? You need to empathize. How do you think you would feel in the same situation? If you had to attend a meeting of only 5 people online, you're going to engage differently to if there were 40 people online. And if some people were live at that meeting, they're going to get more from it. So how do you think you feel that you could get involved in that meeting? So you've got to think about that situation for your students. Optimize the class time. I'll come to this later with some ideas, but what can you give the students outside of class so that it's not wasting the time in the class? Because the students at home need to be active to be engaged. When you teach online, this is what you have to, but the students live want to be taught. They want to sit back and absorb. So you've got to consider what's going to be used in the class time. Tailor your lesson plan. Look at your lesson plan. It's not going to fit this traditional staging that you would have if there was live or if there was online. It's different now. You need to think about the staging. Learning is the goal, tech is the tool. I saw this written down, I thought it was quite nice. If there's a tech problem, that's something to deal with, but it should not stop the class from learning. You need to make sure your students are skilled, and the teachers are skilled as well, at using your LMS and the other tools around it. Those things can be taught via YouTube tutorials. They can be taught at the start of the term. They should not stop a 1-hour class just because this student doesn't know how to open this particular software. How can you train them? And if there are other teachers with the same problem, consider how you could train each other's students and engage with them. Have you got worksheets? Students facing a problem? Quickly, I'll send you this, you figure it out and do it. Don't stop the class to help one student who's facing tech problems. Consider the visual, consider the camera angle. So we looked at a few bits of equipment before. What will that secondary device show? Will it show the whole class from the back, or will it just show you presenting from the front? Which desk are you going to place it on? Tell your students how to spotlight a camera, so which camera angle is going to be the most important. You can adjust, your students can focus on that and raise it up. Signal that to the students at home so that they're ready to look at that camera. Look at your audio and microphone, so wear your headset throughout. If you take it away and put it in the same place that the laptop would be, the students are not going to engage because they can't hear you as clearly. So make sure you're wearing your headset and keep checking in with the students at home. Ask them a question, make sure they've got their microphone ready to turn on and off, and keep them using that microphone so that they're engaged. Last few things, materials. What tools do your students need to interact with the materials? So if you're using an online tool, it might be better for online learning, but another one might be better for hybrid learning. So something like Padlet, OneNote, whatever you're using, can the students interact together live and at home using these materials? Communication. How can the students talk to each other? You have breakout rooms in things like Blackboard Collaborate. You have WhatsApp, simply. They could just be messaging each other on a little thread just to talk. Jamboard, Coggle, Teams, these things are all really good for live interactive communication. Students are much better than us at my age anyway for using these kind of tools, so get them to start using them effectively in the classroom to communicate. And then reflect. If you allow some time in the class for a little bit of reflection, you can try to gauge if the students have understood. You can set a poll, a Mentimeter. The students could reflect with each other and give peer support. You need to get the students to buy into the learning by setting them some roles. So you could have a scribe or someone who declares the end of the lesson and what we learnt. They've got to gather the information from the students at home. So if you build these roles, that could also be someone at home. They could review what they've learned at home. You can compare it to the students in the class. So here's an example of teaching methodology here that I've talked about a little bit. Here's a traditional classroom. The teacher's the sage on the stage. This is what we're going to do, lecture, and this is your homework when you go home. Whereas a flipped classroom, this would need a whole other PD, but I'm just touching upon it here. The teacher is the guide on the side. In the class, we're doing activity. The students are facing each other. They did some work at home, but the teacher is just helping them through the classroom. Now, in this hybrid learning, this approach would be really beneficial. Flip the activity by setting an asynchronous learning task at home. Use the class time to facilitate the activities in class. Set the lecture, set the reading to pre-teach, guide the students. You can review it quickly in class, but use that time in class for exploring, analyzing, deconstructing, and collaborating with each other. Think, what can our students achieve on their own, and give that for asynchronous work. Make sure that's the homework, that's the preparation. These students largely will be privileged to be able to study at home, so they need to be putting that work in to make up for the fact that they've not got a journey time to the campus or something like that. So examples at home, you'd set an online lecture, a video, a text, you participate in a discussion, you do some research. When you get to class, that's when you do a face-to-face discussion, a debate, a presentation, you peer review some project work. These activities would really make hybrid learning function in the various different subjects we teach at our campus. Other tips that I've observed from teachers: ask for the students at home to respond every other time. The second time. So when you're giving feedback, get someone in the class, because then they know it's started. But the second one should be there for the person at home. So make sure you go, second one, I'm going home. And then you can be nominating differently, but make sure the second one, so that they're engaged and they know that feedback's coming. I've seen some teachers use a term for at home and in class learners. So they refer to them in a friendly way. So I've seen homies and roomies, and it was a nice way to refer to them so they could all answer together. Make sure you set a time limit for your feedback, because if there's a problem in the classroom, it can get the students to not engage at home if they can't hear the problem, because you'd have to have a microphone being passed around the room. Wheel of Names, I think it's wheelofnames.org or .com, but you Google it and it's a good way to get the nomination equal around, and you'll be using the people at home and in the class. Remind students of the lesson objectives frequently. So a sticky is a little yellow note that is virtual, it's on your laptop screen, and you can bring it up at the start of the class and then bring it down to show what's going on in the class. Individualize the learning, so make sure you can set differentiated tasks for the at-home learners, differentiated tasks for the in-class learners. Maybe they could be the sole groups. One has to decide one side of the argument, one side has to decide the other side of the argument, and then they're collaborating and they know what their responsibilities are. Make sure there's some reflection, like I talked about, using Mentimeter or a poll on Blackboard Collaborate, and assign these leaders to make sure the communication is clear. If there's a question from home and you've missed it because there's so much going on in your head and on your laptop, they may get a message on the WhatsApp group, they can read it out, and then they've got that role in the classroom. Quick reality check. I know our teachers are on a 40-hour week with 25 hours teaching. You do a lot of admin. This kind of thing is really going to take some time to get right, All I'm saying at this stage is consider your learners and consider how you're teaching, your approach to teaching, just to make sure those students at home are engaged. So now in the PD is a nice little task where the attendees would watch this video. It's a funny video, to be honest, it's not serious, but it does bring up some of the important problems you might face in hybrid learning. So just watch this video.
Hey class, I'm going to come around and I'm going to get the homework. Just have it out on your desk so that you guys can get any of the points that I'm sorry, did it freeze again? Did the online freeze? What do you see? What are you looking at right now? Guys, quiet down in the back. What? No, don't cuss at me in class. I'm in front of the virtual, there's parents online. Why would you cuss at you? I'm a what? Okay, well, you know, that's crazy. We're just, gonna have just a little time out here. And that's where you can shove that, okay? That's what, all right, we're back in the lesson. Everybody's doing well. Hey, would you mind giving me my laptop back? Yeah, the one you just took off my desk that you just put into your backpack that has a logged in class with students in there? Seriously? There's kids in there. There's kids in your backpack. I should get you for theft and kidnapping. This is unbelievable. And I think that about sums up the entire Industrial Revolution in one class. I'm glad we got through that. Let me just check on these virtual kids and, all right, it froze, huh? When we did 17 pages of notes, covered 30 years. When did it freeze? The roll call, froze. Roll call, okay. It's all right, I'll just repeat the lesson, that's all. Yes, you can go to the restroom. You don't have to ask me, you're in your house. You have to ask Clayton. You can go, but just hurry back. You go on some sort of adventure like you're going to find Carmen Sandiego or something. Just hurry back, please, Clayton. I'm sorry, hold on. Listen, can we go ahead and all mute our mics? I hear an air fryer in the background. Somebody's cooking lunch, and if you guys could just, you're all muted. I still hear the air fryer. Are you air frying stuff in my class? What do you mean you just want an egg roll? You don't bring an air fryer to school? Turn your assignments, and you guys online, if you could hold up your work so that I can check it. And Sam, is that Clayton behind you? The Clayton that I just sent to the restroom 10 minutes ago? He's at your house now? Clayton, what are you doing? Also, can you bring me McDonald's? Hook me up, I'm kind of hungry. A fight? Okay. Don't worry. I got this under control, parents. I handle this all the time. It's no big deal. Trust me, families, this happens all the time. It's just a little detour in class. It's pretty normal. We just don't worry, families. Perfectly normal. This kind of stuff happens all the time. Can somebody please call the police? Fire drill. Okay, guys, nobody log off. You guys are coming with me. If I gotta be bored outside while everybody tries to figure out how to open doors and walk, you have to be there too. That's the bell, guys. Go ahead and exit out the back. Grab the homework on your way out. Just be sure to turn it in on Monday. Thank you, guys, for all you do. I will see you then. Everything is awful. This is terrible. I hate this. Oh, I should have taken the realty exam. Oh, my Lord. There is not a glass of wine on earth big enough to help me deal with this show of appreciation that I have for all of my students that is just overwhelmingly filling me with joy. And oh, I didn't see you there. That's crazy. We'll meet on Monday. Everything's great. And have a good weekend.
So in the live PD of this, I set the people at home the example to do the summary of the problems, and then the ones in the room had a different task of saying which ones were the top 3 problems in your opinion. So they had slightly differentiated tasks so that they could see what they were identified as. These were the problems. You had background noises, a fire alarm, you forgot the camera and mic was on, laptop was stolen by a student, you had problems with discipline in the class that would not engage the people at home, you had a poor camera angle, the screen froze for a while, and students were just asking questions that wasted time. So here's some problems and solutions to do with hybrid learning. How can I tailor my delivery? Well, a nice way to do it is to record your class, watch it back for self-reflection and start thinking, did my students engage with that at home? Did they not? Consider your mini learning objectives. So usually you would have 1 or 2 large objectives for the class, but consider what are the individual little things we can achieve. Put that on the sticky note, show that on the screen so students can signpost where they're at in the class. Ask a colleague to peer observe and survey your students regularly and anonymously. It's an embarrassing thing to do, but sometimes you can actually give them a scale 1 to 5 and say, did you enjoy this class? And you might see differences between the ones at home and the ones in class, in which case you need to consider how you're delivering it. Shy students won't speak. This is not a problem just for hybrid, this is a problem for live classes, but especially for online classes. They might not want to speak at home for when they know they're on the speaker in the classroom. They can't see everyone's response to it. Just give them alternative ways to communicate. They can leave voice notes on WhatsApp, they can leave things. If you use WhatsApp web, you can show that on the screen and then they're still engaged in the class. At-home students are not participating. Well, I would say you need to come to campus, guys. You need to participate and give them a blended learning orientation. An IT person would set that up and give them 3 chances in that class to participate, or just remove them. This would depend on your policy in the campus, but make sure they're participating, make sure they know they're not participating, and if they're not, take them out of the class. If you can't see them, that's a problem because you might have a PowerPoint on your screen. That's where the secondary device comes in. Put that there and then you can see them. Or another way is to just extend your screen rather than duplicate, so you can have the cameras on one and the PowerPoint on the other if you're using it. Tech problems might happen to you, or it might happen to the students. Blackboard could fail. Have a backup and another way to communicate. So a nice one we use is Microsoft Teams or just Zoom, and make sure students know, right, we're going to flip over to there. It's not working. Let's get on that. Let's get on that software for the class. And if the balance is more for the at-home learners, make sure you are focusing on the in-class learners. This is the optimum learning experience. We're not quite there yet with technology, with our teaching approaches, to make sure that the online learning is as effective as the in-class learning. Certainly for lots of things I've seen. They're the ones who are there in the classroom. The focus needs to be on them. You need to be engaging with the ones at home, but don't forget these people made an effort. They're there in the classroom. They need to engage. The feedback needs to be shared between both. Here is some of the sources I found to help put together this PD. The couple of videos that you saw were based on these YouTube subscriptions. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the PD.